Your future is being built while you are not paying attention. It is not being built by the big decision you plan to make next month. It is being built by what you did after waking up this morning. By the food you reached for. By the screen you checked. By the work you delayed. By the promise you kept or broke when nobody was watching. Most people think change begins with a powerful goal. Get fit. Earn more. Read every day. Stop wasting time. They make the goal exciting, announce it, and attack it with energy. Then normal life returns. The alarm rings. Work gets busy. Motivation falls. The old routine takes control again. The person blames a lack of discipline. But discipline is often not the real problem. The real problem is that the old behavior has a strong system supporting it, while the new behavior depends on effort alone. That is why you can want a better life and still repeat the same day. Atomic Habits by James Clear explains how to change that. Its central idea is simple. Small actions, repeated long enough, become powerful. A habit can look harmless today and still shape your health, money, focus, relationships, and confidence over the next 5 years. The action is small. The direction is not. This summary will give you a practical system for building habits that last. You will learn why small improvements grow, why goals often fail, how behavior becomes automatic, and how to redesign your surroundings so the right action requires less effort. You will also learn how to break a bad habit without fighting yourself every hour of the day. But the deepest lesson is not about productivity. It is about identity. Every repeated action teaches you something about who you are. When you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you build evidence that you can be trusted. When you avoid the walk again, you build evidence in the other direction. One action does not define you. Repeated actions begin to. Choose one area of your life that needs to change and keep it in mind from beginning to end. By the end, you will not need 20 new habits. You will need one clear identity, one small action, and a system that helps you repeat it. That is where real change starts. Chapter 1. Tiny Choices, Massive Results. People notice the finish line. They rarely notice the quiet days that made it possible. They see the athlete holding a medal, not the early mornings when training felt ordinary. They see the successful business, not the hundreds of small improvements that kept customers coming back. They see a healthy body, a finished book, or a calm mind and call it talent, luck, or motivation. The visible result is only the final part of the story. In the early 2000s, British professional cycling had spent years with an unimpressive record. The team was not seen as a serious force in the sport. Then performance director Dave Brailsford introduced a method based on marginal gains. Instead of searching for one dramatic breakthrough, the team looked for small improvements across many areas. They adjusted equipment. They improved training details. They paid closer attention to recovery, hygiene, sleep, and preparation. None of those changes looked powerful alone. Together, repeated over time, they changed the direction of the team. In the years that followed, British cyclists became dominant at major events. The lesson is not that a better pillow wins a gold medal. The lesson is that progress can come from improving the whole system, one small part at a time. A habit works in the same way. One workout does not transform your body. One focused hour does not build a career. One honest conversation does not repair every relationship. But each action moves you in a direction. When that direction is repeated, the distance grows. This is the power of compounding. Money earns interest on previous interest. Habits produce results on top of previous results. Reading a few pages gives you an idea. That idea improves a decision. The decision creates an opportunity. The opportunity gives you experience. Months later, the result looks much larger than the original habit. Bad habits compound too. One late night may not hurt you. Repeating it can damage your energy. Low energy makes work harder. Hard work gets delayed. Delay creates stress. Stress makes another late night more likely. What began as a small choice becomes a loop that affects the rest of your life. This is why habits are easy to underestimate. Their immediate effect is usually small. Eat one healthy meal and the mirror looks the same. Save $20 and you are not wealthy. Study for 30 minutes and you are not an expert. Because the reward is delayed, the mind says the action did not matter. The same mistake protects bad habits. Waste an hour online and your career does not collapse. Skip one workout and your body does not change. Spend money carelessly and your account may still look fine. The cost is delayed, so the behavior feels safe. Time reveals what the present hides. James Clear describes the frustrating delay between effort and visible results as a period in which potential is building beneath the surface. Think of an ice cube in a cold room. The temperature rises 1 degree at a time. For several degrees, nothing appears to happen. Then the melting point is reached, and the first drop of water appears. That final degree gets the attention, but every earlier degree helped create the change. Your habits often work like that. You practice a skill and feel average. You publish work and receive little attention. You exercise and see no clear difference. The effort is real, but the evidence has not reached the surface. This is where most people stop. They do not fail because the method is useless. They fail because they expect a straight line. They assume 10 days of effort should produce 10 days of visible progress. When reality moves more slowly, they conclude that nothing is working. What usually breaks people here is the demand for proof too early. If you need a large result to continue a small habit, you will keep restarting. A better question is not, what result did I get today? Ask, where will this action take me if I repeat it for a year? That question changes how you see the present. 10 minutes of reading stops looking small. A daily walk stops looking pointless. Turning off your phone for one focused work block stops feeling like a minor choice. Each action becomes part of a direction. Choose one habit you already repeat. Do not judge it by what it does today. Project it forward. Project your current sleep, spending, and phone habits forward for 1 year. Be honest about where they lead. Then choose one improvement so small that you can repeat it even on a difficult day. Begin with 10 minutes of exercise, 5 pages, or one action prepared the night before. Small does not mean weak. Small means repeatable. And a repeatable action has a chance to become part of your life. Once you understand the value of direction, the next question becomes clear. If small actions create results, what decides which actions you repeat? The answer is not the goal alone. It is the system around the goal. Chapter 2. Stop chasing goals, build systems. A goal tells you where you want to go. A system decides whether you move. Every athlete in a final wants to win. Every candidate wants the job. Every business wants loyal customers. Every student wants good results. The goal matters, but it cannot explain why one person succeeds and another does not. People can want the same outcome and follow very different routines. The difference is usually found in what happens every day. Suppose 2 people want to write a book. The first spends weeks planning the perfect title, cover, and launch. He feels productive because the idea stays exciting. The second chooses a fixed time, opens the document, and writes 500 words before checking messages. The first person has a goal. The second has a writing system. After 1 day, the difference is small. After 6 months, it is a finished manuscript. Goals are useful for direction. They help you choose a target. The problem begins when the goal receives all the attention and the daily process receives none. There are several reasons this fails. First, reaching a goal is temporary. If your only aim is to clean a messy room, you can complete the task and still keep the habits that created the mess. Within days, the old result returns. You change the room, not the system. Second, goals can delay happiness. You tell yourself you will feel successful when you lose the weight, earn the amount, gain the followers, or finish the project. Until then, the present feels like a waiting room. Even progress can feel unsatisfying because the finish line has not arrived. Third, a goal can create a dangerous stop signal. A runner trains for a race, completes it, then stops running. A person follows a strict diet, reaches a target weight, then returns to the old routine. The goal created effort, but it did not create a way of living. A system continues after the milestone. This does not mean you should have no ambition. It means ambition must be translated into behavior. If you want better health, define what healthy living looks like on Tuesday evening when you are tired. If you want a stronger business, define how leads are contacted, how work is checked, and how customers are supported. If you want to learn a language, define when you practice, what material you use, and how you review mistakes. The clearer the system, the less often you must negotiate with yourself. Many people build systems that are too demanding. They create a plan for their most motivated self. Wake at 5. Exercise for an hour. Read 50 pages. Meditate. Journal. Cook every meal. Work without distraction. The plan survives for 3 days and then collapses under normal life. A useful system must work on an average day, not only on your best day. Start by identifying the behavior that produces the result. Then decide its minimum version, its time, its place, and its trigger. For example, the goal is to become stronger. The system is to train at the gym on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after work. The minimum version is to complete the warm-up and first exercise, even on a low-energy day. The trigger is leaving work. The preparation is keeping gym clothes ready in the car. Now the goal has a path. Systems also require feedback. A routine should not continue blindly. If the behavior is not producing progress, adjust it. If the system is too hard to repeat, reduce the friction. If it is too easy to create growth, raise the challenge. The trap here is confusing motion with action. Researching a workout is motion. Completing the workout is action. Organizing writing software is motion. Writing a page is action. Planning a business is motion. Making the offer is action. Motion feels safe because it creates no risk of failure. You can remain busy without being judged by a result. Action is less comfortable because it produces evidence. Ask yourself a direct question. What is the action that actually moves this goal forward? Write it down in one sentence. Remove anything that only makes the plan look impressive. Then create a weekly score based on the action, not the outcome. Do not score yourself only by weight lost, money earned, or views gained. Score the behaviors you control. Workouts completed, offers made, focus sessions finished, pages written, calls returned. Outcomes often delayed. A behavior score gives you immediate feedback. At the end of each week, review 3 things. What did I repeat? What created unnecessary difficulty? What small change would make the next week easier? This keeps the system alive. It turns failure into information instead of identity. But even a strong system can feel forced if it does not match the way you see yourself. You may follow it for a month and still feel that you are pretending to be someone else. For change to last, the system must reach a deeper level. It must change the person you believe you are. Chapter 3. Become the person first. The strongest habit is not held in place by a reminder. It is held in place by identity. When an action matches your view of yourself, it feels natural. A person who sees himself as reliable does not need a speech before arriving on time. A person who values health does not treat every healthy choice as punishment. A reader does not debate whether books belong in her life. The behavior supports the identity, and the identity supports the behavior. Most people try to change from the outside in. They begin with the outcome. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to write a book. I want to stop wasting money. These outcomes can guide you, but they do not answer the deeper question. Who must I become to live this way consistently? There are 3 levels of change. The first is the result you want. The second is the process you follow. The third is the identity you build. Results are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. Lasting change moves through all 3, but identity gives the other 2 stability. Consider 2 people at a party who are offered a food they have decided to avoid. One says, I am trying to eat better. The other says, I take care of my health, so I will pass. Both refuse. But the first person describes a temporary struggle. The second connects the choice to a standard. That standard makes the next decision easier. Identity is not magic. Saying I am an athlete does not create strength. The statement must be supported by evidence. This is where habits become powerful. Every action is a small piece of proof. Complete 1 workout, and you have evidence that you train. Read 1 page, and you have evidence that you are a reader. Save a small amount, and you have evidence that you handle money with care. Speak calmly in 1 difficult moment, and you have evidence that anger does not control you. No single action proves an identity forever, but repeated evidence changes what feels true. The process works in both directions. Your identity shapes your habits, and your habits shape your identity. This explains why bad habits can be hard to release. Sometimes you are not protecting the behavior. You are protecting an old story. I have never been disciplined. I am bad with money. I always quit. I am just an anxious person. These sentences turn past behavior into a permanent label. Once the label feels true, you search for evidence that supports it. A missed day becomes proof that you cannot change. A mistake becomes a reason to return to the old pattern. Change stalls when a new routine is forced to carry an old identity. You do not need to lie to yourself. If you have never run before, saying I am a marathon runner may feel empty. Begin with an identity that the next action can support. I am becoming someone who keeps promises to himself. I am someone who moves every day. I am someone who finishes the important task before entertainment. I am someone who pauses before reacting. These identities are clear, useful, and available today. Use a two-step process. First, decide the type of person you want to become. Second, prove it with the smallest useful action. If you want to become organized, clear one surface before bed. If you want to become a writer, write one paragraph each morning. If you want to become financially responsible, record every purchase for 1 week. If you want to become present with your family, leave your phone outside the room during dinner. The size of the action matters less than the meaning you attach to it. There is another benefit to identity-based habits. They make recovery easier. You will miss days. You will get tired, travel, become sick, or face a week that destroys the plan. If your identity depends on perfect performance, one failure can break it. A stronger identity includes the ability to return. A disciplined person is not someone who never misses. It is someone who comes back without turning one mistake into a new pattern. At the end of today, write this sentence. I want to become a person who __________. Then write one action that would cast a vote for that person in less than 5 minutes. Do it before the day ends. That action will not complete your transformation. It will begin the evidence. Now we know why a habit matters and who it helps you become. But to change behavior reliably, we also need to understand how a habit starts. Every habit follows a pattern. Once you can see that pattern, you can begin to redesign it. Chapter 4. The Hidden Habit Loop. Before you make a choice, your brain is already reading the room. It notices where you are, what time it is, who is nearby, what happened a moment ago, and how you feel. Most of this happens without a long conversation in your head. The brain is constantly searching for signals that predict what comes next. This is why you can walk into the kitchen and open the refrigerator without being hungry. It is why your hand reaches for the phone after a difficult email. It is why sitting in a certain chair can make you want television, while sitting at a desk can make you feel ready to work. The behavior did not appear from nowhere. A signal started a familiar sequence. A habit can be understood through 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue is what your brain notices. The craving is the change you want to feel. The response is the action you take. The reward is the benefit your brain receives. Consider a simple example. Your phone lights up. The light is the cue. You want to know who contacted you or what happened. That desire is the craving. You unlock the phone and check. That is the response. You satisfy your curiosity or escape the work in front of you. That is the reward. The reward teaches the brain that checking the phone was useful. The next time the screen lights up, the sequence becomes easier to repeat. After enough repetitions, you may check even when no notification appears. The original cue has expanded. Boredom, silence, or discomfort can now start the loop. Good habits follow the same pattern. You place walking shoes beside the door. Seeing them reminds you of the clear mind you often feel after a walk. You put them on and go outside. You return with more energy. The brain connects the cue with the reward. Over time, beginning the walk requires less debate. This model matters because it shows that behavior is not one event. It is a chain. If you want to change the outcome, you can change a link. James Clear turns the 4 stages into 4 practical laws for building a good habit. Make the cue obvious. Make the behavior attractive. Make the action easy. Make the result satisfying. To break a bad habit, reverse the laws. Make the cue less visible. Make the behavior less attractive. Make the action difficult. Make the result unsatisfying. These laws move the focus away from willpower and toward design. Suppose you want to practice guitar after work. If the guitar stays inside a case at the back of a closet, there is no clear cue. The first action requires opening the closet, moving other items, taking out the case, and setting up. The habit is not impossible, but the path contains friction. Place the guitar on a stand beside the chair you use after work. Keep the music ready. Now the cue is visible and the first action takes seconds. Nothing about your character changed. The path changed. This is an important correction. People often judge themselves for behavior that their surroundings are quietly encouraging. You keep snacks on the desk and blame yourself for eating them. You keep every app notification active and blame yourself for losing focus. You place the television at the center of the room and the book on a hidden shelf, then wonder why watching is easier than reading. The environment is not the only influence, but it is always casting votes. Another trap is changing all four parts of the loop at once. A person creates a complex routine, buys equipment, sets several reminders, and expects the system to feel natural immediately. The plan becomes another burden. Begin with the first weak link. If you forget the habit, improve the cue. If you remember but do not want to act, make it more attractive. If you want to act but keep delaying, make it easier. If you perform it but do not repeat it, make the ending more satisfying. Diagnose before you add more effort. Take the habit you chose in the introduction and write its current loop. What usually happens just before it? What feeling are you seeking? What action do you take? What immediate reward keeps the behavior alive? If it is a good habit you want to build, design the loop you need. If it is a bad habit you want to stop, expose the loop that already exists. You cannot redesign what you refuse to notice. The first law begins with that awareness. Good habits need cues that are clear enough to survive a busy day. Chapter 5. Make good habits obvious. Many habits do not feel like decisions because you have repeated them so often. You turn on a light when entering a dark room. You lock the door when leaving. You follow a familiar route without studying each turn. The cue and response have become connected. To build a new habit, you need to create that connection on purpose. The first step is to see your current behavior clearly. For one normal day, write down your habits in order. Waking up, turning off the alarm, checking the phone, brushing your teeth, making coffee, skipping breakfast, opening email. Whatever actually happens. Do not create the ideal list. Record the real one. Then mark each habit as helpful, harmful, or neutral based on the identity you chose. Checking messages may be useful after work begins, but harmful when it steals the first 30 minutes of the morning. A late coffee may feel neutral, but not if it damages sleep. The value of a habit depends on where it leads. This simple review is often enough to reveal why a day feels out of control. The problem may not be a lack of time. It may be a sequence of automatic choices that was never examined. Once you see the pattern, give the new habit a precise appointment. I will exercise more is a wish. I will walk for 20 minutes at 7 p.m. in the park near my home is a plan. The more clearly you define the time and place, the less room there is for delay. You remove the daily question of when to begin. Use this sentence. I will perform this behavior at this time in this place. Keep it realistic. If your mornings are unpredictable, do not force the habit into the morning because it sounds disciplined. Choose a time that survives your real schedule. Another method is habit stacking. Instead of using a clock, connect the new behavior to something you already do. After I pour my morning coffee, I will read one page. After I sit at my desk, I will write the 3 most important tasks. After I brush my teeth at night, I will prepare my clothes for tomorrow. After I park at the gym, I will put my phone on silent. The old habit becomes the cue for the new one. The key is choosing a reliable anchor. After lunch may fail if lunch happens at different times. After I place my lunch plate in the sink is specific. You know the exact moment when one action ends and the next begins. Environment design makes the cue even stronger. If you want to take vitamins, place them beside the glass you use at breakfast. If you want to practice a language, keep the lesson open on your desk before you sleep. If you want to drink more water, fill a bottle and place it where you work. If you want to use your phone less, charge it outside the bedroom. Visible cues reduce the need to remember. This works because people often choose what is available, not what they claim to value most. A bowl of fruit on the counter gets eaten. Fruit hidden at the back of the refrigerator gets forgotten. A book on the pillow gets opened. A book on a crowded shelf becomes decoration. Your space should make the next right action easy to see. Separate environments by purpose where possible. A chair, one side of a table, a pair of headphones, or a lighting change can tell the brain whether it is time to walk, eat, rest, or sleep. The space can be small. The signal only needs to be consistent. The mistake is trusting memory. You tell yourself the habit is important, so surely you will remember. Then the day becomes busy and the old routine wins. This is not proof that you do not care. It is proof that the cue was weak. Do not keep the plan in your head. Before tomorrow begins, choose one habit. Write its time and place. Attach it to an existing action. Then place one visible cue in the environment. For example, after I place my breakfast plate in the sink, I will sit at the table and plan my day for 3 minutes. Tonight, I will leave the notebook and pen on the table. That is a complete starting system. It tells you when, where, and what to do. It also prepares the space. One warning. A cue can lose power if it is connected to too many behaviors. If your phone is used for work, entertainment, reading, banking, messaging, shopping, and sleep sounds, opening it does not create one clear direction. The strongest cues have one main meaning. Make the cue easy to notice. Protect it from clutter. Repeat the same response in the same context until the connection becomes familiar. Before we move forward, pause for 10 seconds. Choose the habit you want to build. Name the exact cue that will start it tomorrow. If you cannot name the cue, the habit is still only an intention. Once the cue is clear, a new problem appears. You may remember the habit and still not want to do it. That is where the second law begins. Chapter 6. Make habits irresistible. People repeat behaviors that promise a rewarding change in how they feel. You do not crave checking a phone because touching glass is enjoyable. You crave the possibility of a message, new information, approval, or escape. You do not crave brushing your teeth for the movement itself. You want a clean mouth and the confidence that follows. The action is the bridge. The feeling on the other side creates the pull. This is why anticipation matters. The brain can become active before a reward arrives. Thinking about the meal, the purchase, the message, or the next episode can create more excitement than receiving it. The expectation moves you toward the action. Bad habits often use this well. They offer a clear and immediate promise. Good habits often lead with cost. Exercise begins with effort. Studying begins with concentration. Saving begins with saying no to a purchase. The reward is real, but delayed. To compete, a good habit needs a more attractive beginning. One method is temptation bundling. Pair something you need to do with something you already enjoy. Listen to a favorite podcast only while walking. Watch a show only while using an exercise bike. Buy your preferred coffee after completing a weekly financial review. Play music you enjoy while preparing healthy meals. The enjoyable activity adds anticipation to the useful one. The pairing must support the habit rather than cancel it. Rewarding every workout with food that works against your health goal creates conflict. Choose something that makes the process pleasant without damaging the result. You can also change the language around the habit. I have to exercise makes movement sound like punishment. I get to train my body connects it with ability. I have to save money emphasizes loss. I am buying future freedom emphasizes purpose. This is not empty positive thinking. It is a more complete description of the choice. Every useful habit has a cost and a benefit. If you focus only on the cost, the habit becomes less attractive. Create a short motivation ritual before difficult work. Use the same song, breathing pattern, cup of tea, or 2-minute setup whenever you begin. Over time, the brain can connect that small ritual with a focused state. People around you also change what feels attractive. Humans naturally copy the behavior of people who are close, people who seem respected, and people who belong to a group we value. If everyone around you treats exercise as normal, training requires less explanation. If your friends talk constantly about spending, restraint can feel like exclusion. If your team protects focused work, turning off notifications feels responsible rather than rude. This is why joining the right group can change a habit faster than fighting alone. Choose a culture where your desired behavior is normal and where you share something else with the group. A beginner runner is more likely to stay with a friendly local group than with elite athletes who make him feel out of place. Belonging helps the behavior feel available. Be careful, though. Social approval can support the wrong action. People may stay in debt to look successful, drink to avoid seeming difficult, or join constant online outrage because anger earns attention. The group offers an immediate reward, while the personal cost arrives later. Ask, would I still choose this if nobody saw it? That question separates value from performance. Do not wait to feel motivated before beginning. Motivation changes with sleep, stress, and recent events. If the habit requires a perfect mood, it will never become stable. Make the starting moment appealing, but do not expect every repetition to feel exciting. Attraction gets you moving. A strong system keeps you moving when the excitement becomes normal. Build an attraction plan for one difficult habit. First, name the immediate cost. Is it boredom, effort, uncertainty, or fear of doing badly? Second, add an immediate benefit. Music, a pleasant location, a supportive partner, or a small ritual. Third, connect the behavior to a value. What does this action protect or create? A study routine might become, at 7 p.m., I will make tea, put on quiet music, and complete 20 focused minutes. This is how I build the skill that gives me better work. Now the habit has more than a command. It has a reason and an inviting start. But a habit can be obvious and attractive and still fail if it feels too difficult to begin. The third law removes that barrier. Chapter 7. Make progress easy. When two choices offer a similar reward, people usually choose the one that requires less effort. This is not a character flaw. The brain is designed to conserve energy. A behavior with fewer steps has a better chance of being repeated, especially when you are tired or distracted. That is why convenience shapes so much of modern life. Food arrives after a few taps. Entertainment begins instantly. Messages travel in seconds. Companies understand that reducing friction increases behavior. You can use the same principle for your own goals. Make good habits easy to start and bad habits annoying to continue. Suppose you want to exercise before work. The routine begins long before the workout. You must find clothes, fill a bottle, choose a session, locate headphones, and decide when to leave. Each step is small, but together they create resistance. Prepare the clothes, bottle, headphones, and workout plan the night before. Now morning contains fewer decisions. The aim is not to make life effortless. It is to spend effort on the habit itself instead of wasting it on avoidable setup. This is also where the difference between motion and action becomes useful. Planning, learning, and organizing can help, but they can also become a hiding place. You watch 10 videos about exercise and never train. You compare writing tools and never publish. You redesign a schedule and avoid the difficult task inside it. Motion prepares. Action produces a result. The trap is trying to perfect the habit before repeating it. The first workout does not need to be advanced. The first video does not need to be brilliant. The first sales call does not need to feel confident. Repetition gives you information that planning cannot. Focus first on showing up. Improve the quality after the behavior has a place in your life. The 2-minute rule helps by shrinking the starting point. When you begin a new habit, reduce it to an action that takes about 2 minutes. Read every night becomes read 1 page. Run 3 miles becomes put on running shoes and step outside. Study for an hour becomes open the notes and review 1 idea. Clean the house becomes put away 5 items. The small version is not the final goal. It is the doorway. People sometimes reject this because it feels too easy. They say 1 page cannot make them knowledgeable and 2 minutes cannot make them fit. They are correct about the immediate result and wrong about the purpose. The first objective is to master the art of beginning. A habit must exist before it can improve. Once you begin, continuing is easier because the hardest transition has already happened, moving from not doing to doing. Set a maximum for the first week if necessary. Stop after 2 minutes even when you could continue. This proves that the habit is under control and leaves little room for excuses. When starting feels normal, Expand slowly. Small actions also influence decisive moments. A day contains several moments that determine what happens next. Entering a restaurant, opening a laptop, arriving home, putting the phone beside the bed. The decision may take seconds, but it creates a path that lasts much longer. If you sit on the couch and start a show after work, the next hour is largely decided. If you change clothes and walk outside first, a different path begins. Design those moments in advance. Automation can make the path even easier. Set a regular transfer into savings. Use website blockers during work. Schedule recurring grocery orders with healthy basics. Put devices on automatic nighttime settings. Create templates for repeated business tasks. One decision can then guide many future actions. Automation should serve your values. Review what your devices and accounts are already making automatic. Here is a practical friction audit. Choose one good habit and list every step required before the useful action begins. Remove, shorten, or prepare one step. Then choose one bad habit and list what makes it convenient. Add one step. Log out of the distracting account. Remove saved payment details. Keep the remote in another room. Delete the app and use the slower website version. Store unhealthy food where it is not immediately available. A few seconds of friction can interrupt an automatic response long enough for a better decision to appear. Make the good path clear. Make the first step tiny. Repeat before you optimize. Beginning creates movement, but movement alone does not guarantee repetition. The brain wants proof that the action was worth the effort. The fourth law provides that proof. Chapter 8. Make success satisfying. A behavior is more likely to be repeated when it feels rewarding soon after it happens. This creates a problem for many good habits. Their cost is immediate, but their reward is delayed. You exercise now and gain better health later. You save money now and gain freedom later. You study now and gain skill later. Bad habits often reverse the pattern. The pleasure is immediate, while the cost is delayed. You spend now and face the bill later. You avoid the difficult conversation now and live with the tension later. You stay up watching another episode now and feel exhausted tomorrow. The present self makes the choice. The future self receives much of the result. To make a good habit last, bring a small part of the reward into the present. The reward does not need to be large. It needs to tell the brain that action was worth repeating. This can be as simple as marking a completed day on a calendar. The mark creates visible progress. It turns an invisible effort into evidence. Habit tracking works for this reason. A row of completed days becomes satisfying to protect. It also answers a question that memory often distorts. Have I actually been consistent? People tend to remember their best intentions and their worst failures. A simple record shows the truth. Track the behavior, not every detail. If your habit is walking, record whether you completed the minimum walk. If it is writing, record whether you completed the writing session. A system that takes longer to track than the habit itself will not survive. Connect the tracking to the end of the behavior. After the workout, mark the calendar. After transferring money, update the total. After reading, record the pages. The action becomes the cue for tracking, and tracking provides a clean ending. You can also create an immediate reward that matches the identity you are building. If you want to stop unnecessary purchases, move some of the money you did not spend into an account named Freedom or Travel. The money now serves a visible purpose. If you complete focused work before checking social media, enjoy 10 minutes online without guilt after the session. The reward follows the behavior you want to strengthen. Avoid rewards that conflict with the habit. Do not celebrate a week of careful spending with an impulsive purchase. Do not reward healthy eating with a binge. A conflicting reward teaches the brain that the good habit is a punishment you must survive before returning to what you really want. Finish while you still have enough energy to return. A routine that always ends in pain or exhaustion makes tomorrow harder. Consistency grows when the habit leaves the door open for the next repetition. What happens when you miss? You will miss. The perfect streak is not the goal. The danger is not one missed day. The danger is the story that follows. I broke the streak, so the week is ruined. I ate one bad meal, so the plan is over. I wasted the morning, so I may as well waste the day. This turns one mistake into permission for another. Use a simple recovery rule. Avoid missing twice. If you skip a workout, complete the minimum version next time. If you spend carelessly, record the purchase and return to the budget with the next decision. If you lose a morning to distraction, protect the first focused block tomorrow. The second action matters because it begins a new direction. Do not try to punish yourself back into consistency. Shame may create short-term force, but it also makes the habit emotionally expensive. Review the cause and repair the system. Did you forget? Strengthen the cue. Did the habit feel unpleasant? Improve the experience. Was it too difficult? Reduce the first step. Did the reward feel distant? Add visible progress. The danger is using the wrong measurement. A person may become obsessed with a streak and continue a weak version of the habit just to protect the number. A business may count calls without checking whether customers are helped. A writer may count words while the work loses clarity. Measurement should guide the habit, not replace its purpose. Track enough to stay honest, and review enough to stay useful. Create one simple scoreboard today. Give the habit a clear minimum and mark it immediately after completion. Then write your recovery plan in advance. If I miss once, my next action will be __________. This removes drama from a bad day. You already know how to return. When good behavior becomes satisfying, repetition becomes easier. But breaking a bad habit requires the full system in reverse. You must remove the signals, challenge the promise, add resistance, and make the cost harder to ignore. Chapter 9. Break bad habits at the source. A bad habit usually solves a real problem in a poor way. Scrolling may solve boredom. Overeating may soften stress. Avoiding work may protect you from the fear of doing badly. Anger may create a temporary feeling of control. Impulse shopping may create excitement after a dull day. If you focus only on the behavior, you miss the need beneath it. The habit returns because the problem remains. Start with the cue. Make it invisible where possible. If your phone breaks concentration, do not place it face down beside the keyboard. Put it in another room. If you eat whatever is visible, stop displaying the food you want to avoid. If a certain app takes an hour each night, remove it from the home screen or delete it. Willpower becomes easier when the cue is absent. This does not mean avoiding every challenge forever. It means protecting the new behavior while it is still weak. A person recovering from a destructive pattern does not prove strength by keeping temptation within reach. Next, make the bad habit less attractive. The mind often highlights the immediate benefit and hides the full cost. 1 more hour online will help me relax. Complete the sentence. 1 more hour online will help me relax for a moment, reduce my sleep, weaken tomorrow's focus, and make the same escape more likely. This is not exaggeration. It is an honest view of the trade. Reframe what you gain by refusing. You are not missing late-night entertainment. You are protecting tomorrow's energy. You are not losing the chance to buy something. You are keeping control of your money. You are not giving up the pleasure of gossip. You are protecting your character and relationships. Then add friction. Bad habits grow when they are fast, private, and easy. Slow them down. Use an app blocker with a password held by someone you trust. Keep no junk food at home, so getting it requires a separate trip. Set a waiting period before non-essential purchases. Leave cards at home when going somewhere that encourages impulse spending. Move the television out of the bedroom. The delay gives the rational part of the mind time to re-enter the decision. Finally, make the result unsatisfying. Bad habits survive because the immediate reward is clear while the cost remains distant or hidden. Bring the cost closer. Create an accountability agreement. Tell a trusted person the behavior you are changing, the standard you will follow, and how you will report it. The possibility of being seen changes the decision. For an important habit, at a reasonable consequence. If you miss a planned study session without a genuine reason, you complete it before weekend entertainment. If you break a spending rule, you transfer the same amount into savings. The consequence should correct the system, not harm you. Accountability works best when it is simple and specific. Help me be better gives the other person nothing to check. I will send you a screenshot of my completed work block by 7 p.m. on weekdays is clear. The plan fails when you remove a habit without replacing its function. If the phone gives you relief from stress, taking it away leaves stress. If food provides comfort, removing it leaves the emotional need. If procrastination protects you from fear, a stricter schedule does not address the fear. Choose a healthier response that offers a similar benefit. For stress, walk or breathe slowly for 2 minutes. For boredom, keep a short list of activities that restore you without trapping you. For fear of failure, reduce the task to the next visible action. For anger, leave the room and return when your body has settled. The replacement will not always feel equally rewarding at first. The old habit has been practiced longer. Give the new response time to become familiar. Use a 4-part bad habit plan. Remove 1 cue. Write the full cost. Add 1 step of friction. Choose a replacement response. For example, when work becomes uncomfortable, I normally open social media. I will keep my phone outside the room, block the sites during work hours, and write the next task on paper. If I need a break, I will stand, stretch, and walk for 3 minutes. That plan deals with the cue, access, and underlying need. Do not measure success by never feeling an age. An age is not an action. Success is noticing the old loop early enough to choose a different response. Each interruption weakens the automatic path. Each replacement builds another. You now have the tools to start, repeat, and protect a habit. The final challenge is staying engaged after the habit becomes ordinary. Because the greatest threat to a successful routine is not always failure. Sometimes it is boredom. Chapter 10. From Consistency to Mastery. The beginning of a habit receives attention. Mastery is built after the excitement disappears. Anyone can feel motivated on the first day. The goal is fresh. The equipment is new. The future looks close. Then repetition removes the novelty. The workout feels familiar. The business task feels routine. The practice session reveals the same weakness again. This is where professionals separate from people who depend on mood. They continue when the work is no longer interesting enough to create its own energy. That does not mean forcing the same routine forever. It means learning how to keep the challenge at the right level. If a task is far beyond your ability, it creates anxiety. If it is far below your ability, it creates boredom. Engagement is strongest when the task is difficult enough to require attention, but possible enough to produce progress. This balance is often called the Goldilocks principle: not too hard, not too easy. A new runner may improve by completing a short route. Months later, the same route no longer creates growth. The habit should remain, but the challenge must rise. Add distance, improve time, strengthen technique, or train for a clear event. A writer may begin with 1 paragraph a day. Once beginning feels automatic, the next challenge may be a full page, better editing, stronger research, or publishing on a schedule. Keep the habit stable while adjusting the difficulty. Progress also depends on choosing work that fits your natural strengths and interests. Genetics, personality, energy, and experience can make some activities easier to enjoy or learn. This is not an excuse to avoid effort. It is a reason to choose your game carefully. A quiet person may not enjoy aggressive sales calls, but may excel in written sales, research, or one-to-one conversations. Someone who hates long gym sessions may stay consistent with a sport, hiking, or short strength workouts. The best habit is not the one that looks impressive. It is the one that produces the desired result and can survive your real life. If a system repeatedly fails, do not immediately conclude that you are weak. Ask whether the method fits you. Can the time change? Can the environment change? Can the activity change while the purpose stays the same? Can the challenge become clearer? Flexible methods protect a stable identity. There is one danger in becoming highly efficient. Automatic behavior can make you less aware. You perform the routine without examining the quality. The habit continues, but improvement stops. A musician can repeat the same mistakes. A manager can run the same meeting even when it no longer helps. A creator can publish consistently while the ideas become weaker. Repetition creates reliability. Reflection creates refinement. Schedule a regular review. It does not need to be complicated. At the end of each week, ask, what did I complete? Where did the system fail? What will I adjust next week? Every few months, ask a deeper set of questions. Is this habit still moving me toward the person I want to become? Am I improving the skill or only repeating the motion? Has my identity become too narrow? That last question matters. Identity can support change, but it can also become a cage. If an athlete believes sport is the only source of worth, injury can destroy more than a routine. If a business owner believes success is the only proof of value, one failure can become a personal collapse. Build identity around qualities that can travel across situations. Not only, I am a successful business owner. Also, I solve problems, learn, and serve people well. Not only, I am a runner. Also, I care for my body and face difficult things. These identities remain useful when life changes. The mistake is believing consistency means rigidity. Real consistency serves a purpose. If the method stops serving the purpose, adjust it. If the habit becomes too easy, raise the standard. If the routine damages another important part of life, redesign it. Do not abandon the system because one part needs repair. Mastery is a cycle. Choose the right behavior. Repeat it until it becomes reliable. Measure the result. Study the weakness. Make one adjustment. Repeat again. The cycle is simple, but it has no final finish line. The person you become creates the ability to pursue a new level. This is the real promise of atomic habits. Small actions do more than produce small results. They create a person who is capable of larger results. You build focus by completing focus sessions. You build courage by facing manageable discomfort. You build confidence by collecting proof that you can act without waiting for the perfect mood. You build self-respect by returning after a mistake. The final practical action is a monthly habit review. Choose one date. Review the habit you are building. Keep what works. Remove one point of friction. Raise or lower the difficulty. Confirm that the behavior still supports your chosen identity. Do not ask whether you feel transformed. Look at the evidence. What do you now do more easily than you did a month ago? What promise are you keeping more often? What problem has become smaller because your system became better? That evidence is the quiet shape of progress. Conclusion: one habit, starting today. You do not need to rebuild your entire life tonight. You need to stop treating change as a single dramatic event. Your current life is supported by repeated actions. Some were chosen. Others grew without permission. The way forward is to notice them, decide what they are teaching you, and redesign the path one step at a time. Remember the full system. Small actions compound. Judge them by their direction, not only by today's result. Goals choose the destination. Systems create movement. Identity gives the behavior meaning. Decide who you want to become and collect evidence through action. Every habit follows a loop: cue, craving, response, reward. Make a good habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. To weaken a bad habit, hide the cue, expose the full cost, add friction, and make the consequence harder to ignore. Use a simple record to stay honest. When you miss, return with the next decision. When the habit becomes automatic, review it and raise the quality. Now turn the ideas into one action. Choose one identity. I am becoming someone who underscore. Choose one habit that supports it. Shrink the habit until it can be started in 2 minutes. Choose the exact cue. Prepare the environment before you need motivation. Track the action for the next 7 days. If you miss once, use the recovery plan you wrote in advance. 7 days will not finish the journey. They will prove that the journey has begun. Do not wait for a new month, a perfect Monday, or a stronger feeling. Those are delays wearing the clothes of preparation. Your next vote can be cast today. Put the book on the pillow. Prepare the shoes. Move the phone. Open the document. Transfer the first amount. Take the first walk. The action may look too small to matter. That is exactly why you can repeat it. And what you repeat will shape what you trust, what you expect, and who you become. If this summary gave you one useful idea, do not leave it as an idea. Write your chosen habit in the comments in one clear sentence. After this cue, I will do this action. Subscribe for more practical audiobook summaries that turn powerful books into actions you can use. Then close this video and complete the first repetition. Your future does not need a dramatic promise. It needs a better pattern.